It was alright, actually.
What one were you listening to?
What was last week's one called?
Sponsored by Netflix.
It was that one. I just knew, and you said the title, I would remember. That was how.
Oh, so you finally listened to your own voice for a little bit, Craig.
I interrupted somebody a couple of times. That was about as much as I said, I think, at that point.
Nothing different there. You must have not been putting your hand up.
I know, that's that. I just nodded.
Just nodded and smiled as normal. Excellent segue into this week's movie, guys. Did you clock that one there?
Am I not missing somebody?
Aye, he's deviated a bit Biff's reviewing movies.
He's not going full time until after these next two films.
So that was going to be the little announcement at the end of next week's episode, Burnsy, but I suppose we should address it today and that straight away, since you've brought it up there. The morons that were 5 are becoming 6. Regular listener, I don't think you actually listened to us beforehand, but our most recent attendee, Mr. Paul Wilson, is leaving Biff's reviewing movies and joining Morons reviewing movies on a free transfer.
I thought Paul Wilson was actually going to be here tonight. I was being serious when I said there's somebody missing.
I was going to that.
Communicate with each other.
It's funny.
No.
I was going to say, we've called him Dubs the whole way through, and now we're calling him Paul Wilson. Everyone's going to be like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Aye, why are you using these?
Who's this other guy that they've got coming on now?
It's only because Kel used his full name once. That's why I used it. That was the only reason.
Well, his name has been added to all the bios, so Paul has been added there. To be fair, I've got all your actual names rather than nicknames that we call you whilst we're here. So maybe we need to update that. But he will be joining us in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks' time. We'll be reviewing some new movies from the seen and unseen selection that we decided recently, which will be announced on our Instagram very, very soon.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
Ah! You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
But we are here to talk about the movie Smile. The movie Smile was selected by Daniel, came out in 2022. After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, a psychiatrist becomes increasingly convinced she is threatened by an uncanny entity. Now, typically when we start off these podcasts, we come to the person that chose the movie, which makes the most sense. But we do have a horror fanatic within the group who is going to share his experience of building up to this movie. Shaun, we will come to you first.
I never watched it. Nah, I'm not joking, I did. So obviously, wasn't really looking forward to it. Obviously, being a big, massive shite bag. But when I told Laurie, my girlfriend, loves horror films, so she very rarely watches films with me that we do for this. And to be honest, I don't blame her for half the stuff that we watch. But with this one, it's one that she'd wanted to see at the pictures, but we never actually went. I can't remember how I managed to kind of get my way out of that one. But anyway, so she wanted to watch it in bed. She wanted to lie down, get all the lights out, because like our room basically is the way that the flat is, like absolutely no light gets into the window at all. Even in the living room when it's night, we've got like street lights out, so basically the way that it's positioned, they still shine into the living room, so that you've still got that light. So she wanted like pitch darkness. I obviously asked to keep the light on, which was very quickly declined. So we got it on. They were sitting in darkness. The door, the actual bedroom door as well, was open a wee bit, which I've very much regretted, because there's quite a few scenes in this where she looks into a kind of distant doorway and it's just black, and I couldn't take my eyes off the door at some points, but I didn't want to look at the door just in case there was somebody standing there looking at us smiling.
Well, imagine if Laurie got one else to go around and do that. Shaun would absolutely shat himself. Daniel, you'd also live across the road to you. Can imagine you just like
Could have done that.
with a lamp just above your chin.
That really wouldn't have been necessary, but so what I normally do from when we do horror films is, because I can't really immerse myself into much of the storyline or anything like that, so I go by, for me personally, I go by like scare factor, and that's what I base my rating on, because these films would always be scored very, very kind of low by me, just because I'm just terrified of them. So with it, obviously, with the very kind of limited horror films that I've watched, I feel at least this one had a bit of a kind of decent story to it. It wasn't just family moves into a haunted house, they get haunted, they find old pictures in the attic, and it turns out that's who's haunting them. Like, how many times have you seen that? At least this one, it kind of made you think a little bit. And obviously, like, it goes back, each person who witnesses this suicide, this demon or whatever attaches himself onto them. Obviously, you guys know. But in terms of scales, it did have a few kind of jumpy bits. Again, and I try not to, and Laurie gets on it with this. Sorry, Laurie gets on at me for this as well. When I'm watching a horror, if I feel like something's building up, I'll pick a point, I'll pick something around the TV and just stare at that, so it makes it look like I'm staring at the telly, but I'm actually looking at could be a fucking ornament or something. But it's just the noise and that just gets me. Like, I absolutely hate it. So in terms of kind of jump scares in the film, I thought it done its job to make me jump on more than a few occasions. Which I suppose, if you're a horror fan, is what you're looking for. But I did find this scary. There's something just kind of creepy about somebody just smiling at you. That was the kind of worst part, was just that smile, and it was like a dead expression. It's something that everybody does every day. They smile, but it was just it was just quite fucking scary in this. In terms of the actors and all that, I thought again, I can't remember names or anything like that, but the main, the lead female, I thought she was brilliant. I thought she was really, really good. Her fiance must be up for one of the worst actors in a film that we've ever watched while doing this. He was utterly dreadful. The ex-boyfriend, the policeman that kind of tied in at the end with, poor bastard, he was quite good as well. I actually managed to call the ending as well, which isn't good, considering that I'm pretty thick when it comes to stuff like that. So if I can call an ending in a horror film, it must be obvious, because half the time I'm watching through my fingers, or I'm just watching the fucking the ornament at the side of the TV. But to summarise, it did scare me. I did look away loads of times. I did jump quite a few times. So I hope that that's the last horror for a wee while, because I really don't like watching them in quick succession. I did actually notice that one of the films that I chose, I won't say what it is, because obviously that's for further in the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. I've seen it before, but that says that that's classed as a horror, but I don't remember it being scary. I don't know if any of you have seen the film that I've picked. I think Daniel, I think you've heard that it's good, but you've not seen it. But anyway, so just in case that comes up for you, maybe one of you have noticed, I've not picked a horror. It's just one of the descriptions online for it for some reason. But this was quite scary.
I love that. I love it. I love the fact that you've your partner is extremely into these types of movies, and you've tried to immerse yourself in it, but you've still found a way to get out of actually watching it whilst it's on.
Well,
I've definitely not tried to immerse myself in it. I wouldn't say I've ever tried to immerse myself into a horror film or been up for watching it. It's just it'll get to the point where, because like, there has to be obviously like a kind of like, if she wants to watch a film, right, and it's one that I want to watch, then that's fine. If it's something that she wants to watch, I'm going to need to give her eventually, because she does like horror films. So there's going to be horror films that I'm going to need to watch with her. So I wouldn't say I ever immerse myself in it. I never look forward to it. It is always just pure dread. And I'm fucking running about the house after the film, putting the lights on and all that. Like, when I'm going from room to room, honestly, it's so pathetic. But it's just that. It is what it is.
I was going to ask Shaun, it's like, did you, because you sort of tried hard to concentrate on that one. Did you find that not maybe during the time because you probably hated it more, like looking back, do you find that it was actually maybe a better and more enjoyable watch than ones where you just it sounds like it's really is a chore because you're trying to avoid the screen sometimes?
No, not really. It's just it's the build up. So, like, for any kind of horror film, whenever it's a scene at night or it goes dark or the lighting's quite off, like I feel it's building up to something. So I'm building myself up to try and be ready to be for something to jump out, something daft like that. So, but that's when I start to kind of like look at objects around the TV to try and not get that jump fright or something like that. So no, like it could literally be a perfect 10 out of 10 story with the best actors in the world, with the biggest budget, with all this hype around it. If it's a horror film, I'll still watch it the same way that I watch every other horror film, and I'll only ever like kind of come out of it glad that I've made it out alive at the other end.
Well, that's always a good point there. Just when you're talking about the experience of it, so when I watched this, I decided to watch it on a night where I was literally the only person in the house. Made sure it was really late, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock or something it was. Closed all the curtains, turned the volume up really, really loud because I thought I want to get scared. Like I really want this film to scare me because I'd seen a lot of the hype about it. I'd seen all those people that were positioned in like sporting events and stuff that were just standing there smiling as part of the advertising for it. So I was always really, really intrigued by it. And I messaged you guys in the group about 15 minutes into the movie. I had to pause it because it did that building up in that suspense that Shaun's talking about that you get scared from. And I was really feeling that in this movie. I felt that they did really, really well at that. There was one part in particular in the movie where she's in the house and it's really dark and you're expecting really jumpy stuff to happen, and the phone rings because her alarms went off, and she takes the phone call and it's a security company. Well, what you think is the security company, and she's talking away, and when she says to her, turn around, and everything just slows down. I paused at that point. I thought, I need to break this bit because I'm fucking shitting myself here. And then, sorry, where did you go?
I was just going to say, so that's something I'd written down in terms of what I thought was really good about the film, in terms of there's some horrors that we watch and it's like they're wanting to make you jump, but this one I thought was really good at just having silence in stages, which that was one of the ones I'd written down, where it's just like, you know, something's coming, but it can just be something as simple as a phone going, or she smashes the glass or the alarm goes off or something. It doesn't need to be something that actually is fearful for her. It's more just that it'd be the same if you were sitting in the house and you heard a bang or something like that, which is, and you would shit yourself if you think, oh, what the fuck was that? It's the simple things that I think help this movie a lot, because and they do build up suspense, and there is quite a few moments of silence I spotted, which is just exactly what you'd said for that occasion when you were watching.
And it's that type of film though where it builds up that psychological side of it, because I've always thought that I'm fine with horror movies, but recently when we've been watching them, I'm trying to immerse that experience more. And I talk a lot about movies and how you watch them goes a big way to your experience. And I think I'm going to score us a lot higher than it probably deserves as an overall story, because I don't think the movie ends well at all. I think as soon as she goes to that old abandoned building, the film falls apart. Like there was there was no need for it to turn into this big monster. Do you know what I mean? The film showed no indications of that the whole way through. Keep it simple. Keep it as another entity that just takes her, and then the movie ends. And then you've got the scope for sequels and stuff. You didn't need this big fucking 10-foot tall monster where his face rips apart. Absolutely pointless.
And then also enters the new host.
Yeah.
First.
Aye.
Like, I couldn't agree more. Like, I quite enjoyed this. I'm probably going to get a decent enough score, but a full point got taken off my score when it got to that point. And it was her suicidal law turned into a big giant version of herself. It was like a big giant thing walking about, but then she could actually hit it. It was just stupid. Like, what this was doing amazingly well for the first fucking 9-8% of the film was you didn't know what it was. It could be anybody. It was anyone could be smiling at you and all this sort of shit. And it was an invisible force. That's much fucking scarier than a big fucking gangly woman. Fucking stupid. I wanted to mention as well, Shaun said the boy that was a bad actor. Do you think what's he from?
The Boys.
The Boys, aye.
That's
Which
18.
he's 18 for The Boys.
Oh, is
aye.
it? Oh, is
Aye.
it? Didn't even notice. I thought it was absolutely terrible in this. I
He
know he
was.
wasn't in it that much. He wasn't like as main a character as what I thought he was going to be. But for the scenes that he was in, I just found them really like. See when she kind of had him in the car and she was, I don't know if she was telling him in the car, but he basically got out of the car and stormed in the house. After she told him about what she'd been experiencing, literally, I just thought it came across really. Oh, what's the best word? Pinpot. Like it was really. I mean, I'm not a fucking actor, right, and I hate talking like this, but it just, I don't know. I thought it was quite poor in comparison to what she was, because I thought she was absolutely amazing, and because I thought that you could really like, the way that she kind of conveyed how she was feeling on the screen and all of her different kind of facial expressions and the way that she was portraying. Like you could see her like at the start, she was a kind of looked like a normal person, and she just deteriorated through the film, and I thought like she played that really well. Whereas I thought he was just really pish. He was
awful.
Yeah.
I thought like he was just very, very fucking wooden. Is a word that was heard earlier on in Dub's podcast.
Mhm.
And who called it that there was going to be a dead cat in the box?
Aye, I did.
Mhm.
It was a fucking great moment, though. I really enjoyed that. Like, because they built up to it, and it was like horrifying in that way. There wasn't a jump scare, but it was like something that would be like a scary 80s film, like people under the stairs or something like that, like just a fucking corpse or an animal getting picked up. I just thought it changed the tone a little, and then suddenly there was a wee woman sitting smiling at her at the party that nobody else could see. It was good.
I was just going to go back to what links into 2 points, how our sister and our fiance is that you might just laugh at me for saying this, but at the time when, for me, it's like when I thought it was a bit strange how all the people close to her just shoot her down and seem to just like want to get shot of her and don't actually try and be around her to try and make her get any better at all. Like her fiance basically just phones her therapist, and obviously, like I can understand him phoning her. I'm not saying obviously that was the right thing to do. It was a therapist. I don't know if it was you might tell me differently, but he obviously phoned her, but then he basically she leaves, and he's just like, you don't obviously see, maybe he has tried to get in touch with her, as if he just like things like, oh well, she's a nutter, I'll just let her go. And then obviously her sister as well, she turns up at her house. Obviously, when you said about the party, etc., then she turns up at her house after it. They have an argument, and then she wants rid of her as well. Whereas, like, maybe if I was in this situation, then I'd feel different. But if somebody that was in my family, one of my close friends or whatever, were telling me stuff like that, I don't think I would just turn my back on them and just like tell them to bolt, which is basically what it looks like in that film.
Aye, she's got no support about her.
I mean, to be honest, if somebody came to you and said that a demon of some sort that only they could see presented them as a human smiling at them and was basically terrorising them, I certainly wouldn't believe them. I definitely wouldn't want to be anywhere fucking near them either.
I'm not saying I would. I'm not saying if you tell me this tomorrow, Sean, I'm going to believe you. What I mean is, like,
I'll tell you
they
what.
seem to just be like wanting to cut ties with the person, and as if they don't actually care one bit. Like the guys obviously, the guys like married, engaged to get married to her sister as well. It's not as if it's some random person that you've seen in the street. I felt like one thing they could have done with the film was maybe show a bit more of whether they did care, didn't care. Or because it seemed as if she just disappears and then they obviously don't see them on screen in any other scenes. But it's as if the impression I got is probably they're probably just sitting there was like, it's not my problem anymore.
To be fair, you'd be as well not having the fiance. I don't think because you've also got her sort of ex. I'm assuming the police guys are ex. The way they were.
So you've
like,
already got that.
Mm-hmm. So you could have ditched him at the film completely, I think. And then she would
Well,
always be home alone.
Aye, because at the start I did think she was, when she goes in the house at first, I was obviously it turns up in that scene, but I was, just the way it started, obviously I was under the impression that maybe she did live alone, just obviously because I can't put the thing there's something that happens, I don't know if it's the phone going or if that's a different scene, but something that happens before he arrives back home. I know it's the day obviously that the girl kills herself in front of her, but
Aye.
I can't remember what. There was something that happened before he got home that made me think it would be a lot more scarier for her, obviously. And he was, like Shaun says, hopeless. So you could have got one of us doing that who would have a better job than he did.
So see, it's been about 2 weeks since I've watched this, and I don't know if I'm just making some of this up as I'm thinking here, but she had obviously witnessed her mum go through whatever her mum went through at a really young age. So there was obviously a lot of damage to her.
I think it was drug addiction she had.
Because she makes a point to her sister about her being the one that was there and went through it all, not the sister. And you just wonder if she's had a lot of incidents where she is maybe a bit dramatic or she's a bit overbearing, and the family and the husband, or the future husband, sorry, has just really struggled with her. Because they were very quick to dismiss her, which you get though, because she's talking mental talk, like. But I just feel there's maybe a bit there in the background that you probably needed to be told a little bit better about how she dealt with the aftermath of her mum, because there's always this, her mum's ended up being the fucking scary monster at the end.
I think it's mentioned in the conversation as with her sister, because I only watched this morning. But I was done like I'm saying to you, I did. It was about 8 a.m. that I watched it.
Daylight.
So no, the thing is, I tried to make it as dark as it could possibly be. The thing is, like, obviously you watched it at like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Obviously that's different, but just now, like, if you watched it at 9, 10 o'clock, I would never put a film on at 11 o'clock at night or whatever. We're too busy doing career paths in our group chats for that kind of stuff.
Just on one of the experiences while watching it. So I stay up quite late for my dog so that she can get out and go to the toilet and stuff. So we typically just leave the back door open. And she's a completely black Cocker Spaniel. You can barely see her when it's really, really dark, right? I have to go to my phone and shine it for her. So I had, during one of these scenes where it was building the tension, I hadn't clocked that she had left to go outside to the toilet. And the door was kind of half open at that point. So as it's honestly building up and I'm thinking, I'm going to pause this soon, my back door swung because she pushed against it to come in. And you had to fucking peel me off the ceiling at that point. That's it. I went and put the lights on and sat for about 15 minutes on my phone just trying to recover from that part.
I was like, so I did try and make it. I turned the volume up. I tried to do everything I could, but apart from watching at 11 o'clock at night, because if you watch it at 9, you're getting the same impact as it is the new. Where was I going with this? I've actually forgot what I was going to say. Oh, that's what it was. I got completely sidetracked. Sorry. She has a conversation with her sister, and they make reference to how the sister, I think, left home. I don't know what age, like say she was 16 or whatever. And the sister says to Rose that she left because basically her mum was a drug addict, I think, and she accused Rose of turning into her mum basically because she was having the kind of same feelings and saying the same stuff as what her mum did. So I think they did sort of briefly mention it in terms of how, and then she just got shot down at that stage, but it was only briefly, so maybe it was just something you didn't pick up at the time, Kyle.
Because they did also make you realise later on that the main lassie, I forget the character's name, she let her mum die. She could have saved her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So her mum was having an overdose, and then you later on find out that the wee lassie, she looked to be 11-year-old or something at the time, came in, and she was like, "Oh, phone for help," and she doesn't do it. So she's probably been living with that trauma through life as well. So I think, like Kyle said, that it comes across to me like she's probably had some episodes previously with different mental health issues, and it does just show in here that we talk about this quite a lot, but everyone you would just dismiss them as mental. Do you mean? And that's what you'd have to do because smiling demon monsters aren't real, right? Or
that we know of.
I know, exactly.
Well, they're all hiding in Shaun's room, waiting for him to have the door open a little bit further.
See the now, right? It's obviously like it's daylight the now, but Laurie's back shift, and I'm in the house myself. I had to take one of my earphones out because I'm sitting with my back to the door, just in case I hear any noise or if the door swings open or something like that. That's how pathetic I am. It is daylight. This room's quite well lit, but I still need to have one of my earphones out just in case something comes in my house.
Well,
Even though the door's
Shaun,
locked, windows
your
are shut.
partner takes great pleasure, as I remember, when we used to play Warzone, you'd have your headphones on in the middle of the game, 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. She'd take great pleasure in coming in and scaring you whilst we were playing.
Aye, that was quite a regular thing, aye.
I was literally just going to ask if she surely wants, she should surely either do that or has done it before, because
She does it all the time. She does it all the time. All the time. Like when we got into bed, so we watched this 2 nights ago, so we got into bed last night, and so when I got in, she was just kind of sitting up, and I thought she was just like fixing the covers, fixing her pillow, and then like because it was dark, I could just see like she's got blonde hair, so I could just see like her hair, and I shined my phone on her. I was like, "What is she doing?" And she was just doing that smile, and I was like, "What? Like, I can't even see. Like it's dark. Why are you doing that?" And she just stayed silent for a second and then busted laughing. I was like, "That's not even funny."
I thought that's where that was going to. That's a belter.
That is funny.
The thing is, you know quite well that's really affected you, Shaun, if she's sat there, because you'll have had a million things going through your mind at that point as well.
Aye, because I was.
He was worried he was hallucinating, probably.
This is the end.
Shaun's got the curse now.
Fuck.
What else? He's going to have to come and kill one else to get rid of
He's
it.
going to have to come on camera and smile and get us all. Right, Mr. Hunter, we've not heard much from you talking about this movie. I'm anticipating that you were shitting your pants the whole time that we were watching this.
Negative.
Fuck off.
I was left very underwhelmed and disappointed with this. I have got to say, the main crux for me, apart from 90% of the active performances being shite, was come the end, right? See the whole thing where it ends up just being like a monster. It's a mob with a fucking vendetta who's had this chain of events to like whatever it was, how many 10 degrees of fucking separation for the further she gets first person to again gets to her daughter. That it's some sort of demonic fucking reincarnation of her that undoes any good work that was been the build up to the suspense before then. That you just know it was a more clambering through fucking souls, taking bodies and souls where. It just ruins the whole thing for me at that point.
I think, to be fair though, Hunter, that I think everyone sees their own different vision. Then. So that's what she saw, but I think every other previous person would see whatever trauma was in their life. Do you know what I mean?
As you said, the unknown would have a greater effect, I think, on me and possibly. Well, for me personally, leaving it as an unknown would, I think, add so much more to this. I mean, I do feel like I know with these types of films, it is so easy to know when something scary is going to happen. The sound changes, there's the areas of suspense or whatever. But I do feel sometimes the scare moments in these types of horror films are 10 a penny now with Netflix, or everyone just rinses them out. It's the same thing, but it's like different variations now of the same scares. That it's almost becoming like canned laughter. You've known when to be scared. I think what happens with the horror films for years gone by is everything was new. Nothing's new anymore. And I think that's what loses so much on these types of films for me. That's why they do nothing for me. I mean, we go back, I can't remember even things like The Ring. I mean, that's 20 years ago, but it still feels like so much more to it than something like this. And again, I think because there's just that many now, and I think again similar to what we had with Quiet Place a few weeks ago, it's one of those where the idea's great, it's just the execution falls way short now.
You just mentioned The Ring there. I've never seen The Ring before, but Laurie had said during it that this reminds her of The Ring quite a lot. Is this quite similar? Is that a similar idea to The Ring? I don't understand the Ring as somebody crawling at a TV or something like that, which I don't really understand. But she said that this felt quite similar to the Ring for her. But,
I wouldn't say it was similar.
No story wise, definitely no.
No, even the feel. The one there is a film. Have any of you seen the film It Follows?
No.
It's very similar to that. That's just like instead of somebody smiling at you, just somebody random's following you, slowly at walking pace, and then it could be anybody anywhere. You've got to get away from them, but eventually they get you, and then somebody else gets it. First type thing. Very, very similar idea. It's better than this actually. It's good.
It's interesting you mentioned about the amount of horror movies coming up, especially on these streaming platforms, like Netflix and stuff, because majority of them are shite. Like I watched one a wee while ago, The Escape Room, awful. Don't watch it. It's dreadful. But I tagged Daniel and Morons Reviewing Movies Instagram page today in a video that I seen on Instagram, and it was talking about this horror movie that you can only view if you DM the director and get his permission to watch it. So you have to DM the director on Instagram with 3 of the top horror movies that you've seen to watch his movie called 12 Kilometers. So we've already tagged him in it. It's a gentleman called Mike Pecky. We'll have to obviously put this episode out and tag him in it as well so we can get access to this video. But it'd be great to review such a unique movie. But if we had the top 3 horror movies, what would we narrow it down to?
As a collective?
As a collective group, let's decide it right now without any prep work. Let's get our top 3 horror movies. I think we should go around, have one each, and then we'll knock off 2. We'll start with Shaun.
Zulu Dawn.
No, we're talking about horror movies, not horrific movies.
Again, though, I'm the worst person to come to me, but I only go by how I feel when I watch. I don't enjoy horror films, obviously, but the one that made me shit myself the most, and I don't think any of you will say it. You'll probably say that it's not particularly good, but for whatever reason, Paranormal Activity, and I've said it before, just makes me fucking proper shit myself. It could be fucking any of them, and I know that like, the first one I think people will say was alright, but the rest of them are probably dog shit. But see, just things that you like, something that you can't see in your house, that just fucking terrifies me. So I would say that.
Paranormal Activity, good shout though, very good shout. Burnsy?
I think probably the one that I put highest was The Shining.
Yeah.
As a horror, but I think Oz did that really as well.
Yeah.
My memory's horrendous though, so there might have been ones that I couldn't even tell you 5 horrors that we've actually reviewed or that I've watched. So I'm just going with what's off the top of my head.
Good choice as well, The Shining. Daniel?
I would probably say The Shining. Of the ones we've watched, probably Silence of the Lambs, if you count that as a horror. My personal favourite is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. That's my favourite. It's a bit of a cult classic.
It's the tendons out the person's body. Oh, didn't he?
Oh, and then when he picks up the lassie, he goes, "Welcome to time, bitch," and smashes her head through the TV. Fucking awesome.
Is it one of these movies, I feel like I've made this up, where one of the Nightmare on Elm Street ones, where he goes into a computer game?
Maybe one of the shit ones. So the only ones that are actually legitimate are the first one, the third one, and the one called New Nightmare. They're the ones Wes Craven made. The other ones are just like bootleg shit.
Because I'm sure there's one where he's like jumping about like he's fucking Mario in a computer game. I feel like
they did a 3D one, but like the old fashioned 3D with like the fucking yellow and the green fucking paper glasses. They did one of them back in the 90s.
Hunter, any preferences?
Different from what's been said so far. Again, I probably went like ones we've reviewed, Nightmare on Elm Street or The Shining, but again, as I was saying, for that lure of the unknown, Blair Witch Project, I mean, I think that's still holds up now.
Aye.
I should have said Pet Cemetery as well, because did I not love that? I know you hated it.
I just sure you scored it higher. You scored it higher than No Country for Old Men. I know that.
Aye, but that's not exactly hard. I probably scored Zulu Dawn higher than that.
I love it. Zulu Dawn was put it as an option. So for me, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and it's technically classed as a TV miniseries, but it's only 2 episodes. But the original It,
Uh,
that
It's-
terrified me.
the issue
Terrified.
the issue with both versions, the old one and the new one, is that, and the same with the book, you've read the book as well, the first half of it is so much better than the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I struggle, do you know what I mean? Like, I just need to see if they could have just come to a good ending at the end of the first bit with the kids and that. The rest of it's kind of drags on a bit for me.
But yeah, it falls into that category of like that building up that tension, that worry that something's going to happen, and that's the kind of types of horrors that freak me out. I'm not bothered about slasher movies and that type of stuff. They can bolt, but it definitely is up there for me. So because I've cheated and said it as a miniseries, I'll certainly take my one out of our final 3. Which one are we knocking out from Paranormal Activity, The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, or Blair Witch Project, guys?
No, I'm going to make, should we not make Silence of the Lambs instead of Nightmare on Elm Street 3? No, fuck it, I'm sticking with it. Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So.
That was a nice discussion we had there. Daniel just talking to himself.
So is that the one we're going to knock out of our final 3 that we're going to send to Mike?
We can't send Paranormal Activity, I don't think. That's a bit basic.
Well, is this for something for us to watch, like all of us to watch?
Yes.
Right, well, just take my film out and I'll not watch it. You can fucking crack on with that. If there's something that you need to fucking ask permission to watch, I can tell you there is no fucking danger I'm watching it. So you just crack on, take Paranormal Activity out. I'm not watching that.
Decision made. So The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and the Blair Witch Project. Hunter, do you have anything? We interrupted your segment on there as you shat all over the movie. Any more shitting that you need to do?
I do have some trivia here, let's call it that. So the film was originally titled Something's Wrong with Rose before being renamed Smile.
Good choice.
The smiles in the film are all natural and not enhanced with visual effects. The studio even asked if they could be tweaked with Parker Finn. That just sounds like a fucking cunt with a name like that. Stuck to his guns and he wanted them to be grounded in their creepiness. When the Paramount logo is shown in the trailer, it is immediately flipped upside down so that the arch of stars resembles a smile. I mean, this is not groundbreaking stuff. Soze Bacon, whatever her fucking name is, who plays Rose, is actually the daughter of actors Kevin Bacon and Kyra Sedgwick.
Oh.
The film is based on Parker Finn's short film Laura Hasn't Slept, in which Caitlin Stacey reprises her role as Laura in the feature version of the short as the woman who kills herself in front of Rose. And also, there was a 30-second teaser trailer was released for this during next week's film, which was Top Gun Maverick.
Oh.
There we go, Look at that. We knew that. That's where we got the continuity going, guys.
Yeah, that was forward planning.
Yeah.
Before we get scores, I wanted to get a little summary for Burnsy on his individual trip to the cinema and a little his thoughts on the movie he went to see on his own.
Before I do that, there was a couple. I will get to that. There was a couple things I wanted to actually add just because I've about the film, just because the only I was going to ask you is like some of the things on the film which I think we've touched on. Some of the scenes were disgusting, like the slitting of the throat and things like that. Like
see the stabbing one.
Aye.
And it's just they two in the scene, and she's just plunging the knife at his chest, and he's just laughing. Obviously, that was like a vision or a dream, whatever it was for her.
Hallucination, yeah.
Pretty fucking graphic.
It was kind of, but I didn't. It was weird. Like sometimes I feel like queasy or uneasy watching them. I didn't feel like that, but I was just like, I think the slitting of the throat that was done well, even though it was disgusting to watch. But the stabbing was a bit much. And another really simple thing, which I think, I don't know if there's films that would do it another way, but I thought it was good how obviously you didn't know whether she was hallucinating or not. Like, say for instance, you were watching the film as a viewer, you know, oh, she's hallucinating this bit, oh, she's not hallucinating here. It would make the film so much worse. Whereas because you're seeing it from her point of view throughout, it kept me more on edge basically throughout the film, and I felt the main actress was really good too. So, so my trip to the cinema myself. Well, it wasn't even just myself. I was only actually one in the movie as well. Because I went.
Set the scene for us, though, Burnsy. We need time that you went, type of movie, reason you picked it.
Well, I've been off work this week, so I decided I messaged you to be fair and said, Bendy's off on Monday at 10:40 in the morning. I'm going to go to Stirling Cinema to watch a film. I even paid. What, you laughing at so far?
10:40. Amazing.
Well, my thinking was like, because I was off, obviously I didn't have much planned during the day. I was able to go at night or whatever. I thought I'll pass some time and go and have a nice film to watch. So on the Sunday, I thought I'll get all prepared. I bought my ticket before the day of the film as well. I spotted at this point that no other tickets have been bought. I also paid for VIP seating because I had a sore back over the weekend, so I didn't want to take any risks. So I paid the extra £2 for that. Strolled up to the cinema, got myself a wee box of popcorn, a juice and a wee sweet, and then strolled in. Messaged Juice to say that there doesn't seem to be there's no one else in the cinema at the moment, and I think the film was maybe starting like 10 minutes later, so it started. Oh, it was No Hard Feelings I went to see, by the way. I've not even told you what film I was going to see yet. So it was No Hard Feelings I went to watch. But no, I actually really enjoyed it. I knew before it was probably going to be my kind of film. I'm not going to go into what happens in the film because obviously it's new out, so people might have not seen it yet. On you go, Shaun.
See how it's like a comedy and like you're sitting in there on your own. Like I don't like. See when you're in other people's company and all that, and you're maybe watching something on the telly, and like if it's a comedy, like it can you share that laughter together, like you have those moments together, and you can kind of proper burst out laughing.
Yeah.
So like you're sitting in the cinema yourself, dead centre in the VIP seating. You've got your juice in one hand. Sorry, you've got your juice in the cup holder, popcorn in one hand, your cock in the other. And then a really funny scene, like something funny happens. Like, do you burst out laughing in a cinema yourself? It's kind of like that thing, like, if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it? Like, did you actually laugh in the cinema on your own?
I did laugh, but not as much as what I would have. Not as much as I would have if I was sitting at home myself.
There could have been some wee viewer or Cineworld, whatever one you went to, employee behind the projector or whatever it is they show these things on, just watching you. And just seeing your shoulders just bouncing up and down at certain bits of the film.
There was someone that came in halfway through the film, an employee. I don't know what they were doing. They just came in, stood at the wee entrance bit, looked up, and I obviously saw them, so I looked across, and then they left.
You made eye contact. Fuck it,
well, I didn't want to, because I was thinking as well. It's like we've not even spoken about the film, but like it's probably quite rare this happens in a cinema because you usually have at least two people going to watch a film, not just one.
Well, as a Monday morning at 10 o'clock, who are you expecting to be at the cinema on a Monday morning at opening time?
It opened at 10. The film didn't start to 20 to 11. It was well past the opening time.
You've got to be. You're so prepared, you had to be at the cinema 40 minutes before the film started.
No, the cinema opened at 10. I only arrived at like
9:30 outside the door just to make sure you got a seat.
We didn't want to take any risks. There could have been somebody sitting in my VIP seat. That to get shifty.
Just had another 85 seats to choose from.
No, well, I was going to ask as well. Is like obviously if I wasn't there in the cinema, right? Say there was nobody at all. Would they have just like played that film, or would they have cut it off and just like had a black screen for 2 hours?
Well, that I mean, they would probably have just fucking no played anything, I would imagine. But it's not as if they're going to change the film just to, like have a late advertisement Like, nobody's came to this showing, but we're going to show this film instead if anybody else wants to come.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean with the film that nobody's watching, just be played in the background for nobody.
I think they'd still play it. Just in case.
That's funny.
And then at the end of the film as well, the credits hadn't even finished and the cleaner was already in trying to clean up.
You stayed for the full credits?
Not the credits, and just starting.
You've seen too many Marvel films with these boys. You're waiting for a fucking end credit scene for a one-off comedy film.
There may have been like few cutscenes, but there wasn't any, so I had to just.
Did you actually stay for the full credits?
Not the full credits. I waited 30 seconds and then decided I better go. Considering the Queen was basically going to start walking up the stairs to Queen area. So
clean the mess that you've made, Burnsy.
But no, it's like a really brief part about the film is I would recommend it. I thought Jennifer Lawrence was great in it. She carried it, and just showed all different aspects from her character from the start to the end of the film. But I think it's probably one that some of you, I think Shaun would. Well, in fact, I don't even know if Shaun would like. I think probably all you wouldn't enjoy it, to be fair. So it'll probably be going. It's one that I'm going to keep for my scene movies because I've not got many left. So once it comes, once it comes to a streaming service, that'll be one, and you can tell me what your thoughts on it were. But there was comedy in it, but not like it is sort of aimed at younger people, I would say. Like obviously that's what I can see why they've aimed it at that. Like I was obviously I'm mid-30s now, but I kind of like the humour that they had in the film. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot more people going to the later showings of it because it's very good.
So I do think there's something a bit suspicious about a mid-30s male on his own going to a cinema to watch a rom-com teenager movie.
But I like rom-coms, you know that.
Well, least said about that, the better. Let's get on to scoring Smile, which is probably not as horrific or scary as what that cleaner scene when she went in to clean up after Burnsy. Let's come for the shite score first. We're going to go straight to Hunter.
0.75.
Oh, wow.
Christ.
Shaun?
I'll go 3.5.
3.5 for Shaun. Burnsy?
3.75 for me.
3.75. What would you have given your rom-com?
I knew you were going to ask this, but I don't know. I need some more time to think about it. At least a 3.5 anyway.
Potentially a second viewing just to be sure.
I'll get my second viewing in when all you have to watch it. So I don't want to shoot too early.
Like you did at the cinema. Oh, we're in our mid-30s, guys.
I actually set you up there. That was actually intentional, even though now you'll probably believe that.
Try to play it off. Daniel?
A 2.75 for me.
2.75 for you. And I was going to come in with a 3. I think I could have easily scored this a 4 if the movie continued the way it went from the start of it.
Same.
That just the end scene just made no sense whatsoever. Like just absolutely needless. So if you're listening, Hollywood, just fucking all the scary bits that you've built up the good work with, just finish it there and then do a second one and then do a third one, and we'll stop watching by the fourth one, but at least then you can tell us your shitty story that you're desperate to show. It's typically how these ones go. Burnsy, what does that do to the overall scoring of Smile?
So that's a 2.75.
2.75. Let's get the leaderboard up and have a look at where that lands. Any guesses on the movies that it will come in beside?
2.75, Shaun.
Maybe near some other horror films like Pet Sematary and all that.
There is another horror film that is in there. Anyone have any other guesses before I tell you what it's beside?
Nah, go for it.
No, go for it. So A horrific movie that is beside is Back to the Future. So it's joint with Back to the Future, Blood Diamond, Mad Max Fury Road, The Shape of Water, and another really strange horror movie in Midsummer.
Right.
Oh, it's better than that.
It's just higher than A Quiet Place.
I liked it slightly better than A Quiet. I liked it better than A Quiet Place. I hope my score reflects that.
A Quiet Place was like, again, we mentioned how so much of it was right, but they just made it shit. Like, they just overcomplicate simple ideas. Anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of talking about Smile. You got the added bonus of hearing about Burnsy's experience in the cinema to see whatever that movie was called.
No hard feelings.
No, it's okay, mate. I'm not worried about it. That brings us to the end of the podcast, guys.
I thought I was going to be the funny one there, obviously.
Hey, thank you very, very much for staying with us for this episode. If you did like what you heard, please leave us a little review on either streaming service or download, however you've done it, Spotify or Apple preferably. Please put some 5-star scores in for us, although we didn't watch a 5-star movie. As Morons do, however, bid you farewell.
Be a fun time to insert a smiling face here on the outro.
How do you portray a smile through a podcast?
Just tell everybody you're smiling.
Right, guys, we're smiling.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun, you fucking moron.
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron. Hey, moron.
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.